Unless one has an affinity for looking ridiculously foolish, it is wise not to stumble aimlessly into a fantasy football draft. The Ultimate Draft Kit from the Fantasy Footballers contains all the information you need to avoid the jeers of your enemies and to snuff out any glint of hope in their souls. Imagine the gasps those trouser-wearing turnips will emit as you make yet another triumphant draft selection. Imagine their tears forming a formidable puddle as you assemble an unstoppable force. The Ultimate Draft Kit comes bursting at the seams with fantasy goodness. When you enter the draft room, you'll feel as if you were a monstrous beast let loose in a chicken coop. Head over to ultimatedraftkit.com today.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, welcome in. Thursday, August 13th. Maybe we'll have some good preseason football today. Jason Morris here. I'm Andy Holloway. Jay Grizz in the house.
I think we will. This year it seems like a lot of teams are going to be playing their starters this week. Deshaun Watson getting that first go, which is why Mike is not here. He is ill. He got
Is that why he got sick?
Yeah, he heard that news and he hasn't been able to stop vomiting.
Maybe we were tired of all that trash talk yesterday on the show. Maybe we slipped a little something into his lunch.
Yeah.
Maybe Jay Grizz wanted the attention. Somebody wanted the attention.
That's the cardboard bear sitting in for Mike, Jay Grizz.
So we have a head-to-head mock draft today. We're going to kick the Mayhem mock draft back a week. I'm sorry for those that were looking forward to it, but we'll do a head-to-head mock draft. Jason v. myself.
Yeah, I can tell you I wasn't one of those looking forward to it.
The Mayhem?
Because the Mayhem's fun for everyone else except for me and Mike.
I agree.
Because we have to deal with the Mayhem, but we'll deal with that next week.
Yeah, we got a lot going on. We got a segment today, Leader of the Pack we'll get into. We do have the UDK for Life giveaway going on right now. Basically, the gist is this. Pick up the Ultimate Draft Kit before Monday, August 24th. On Monday, August 24th, we'll be doing a live stream in the afternoon, answering tons of fantasy questions for your draft. And at the end of that, we'll give away a UDK for Life and a signed Jamar Chase jersey. And
for clarity, because I saw people asking, if you had earlier this offseason, if you got the UDK, you're automatically entered. You don't have to do it like just since this window has opened. If you're an Ultimate Foot Clan member that comes with the UDK, you're already in there. So Monday we will be pulling, Monday the 24th, we'll pull the winner for the UDK for life.
Yeah, and so if you're going to get it to get ready for your draft, do it now, ultimatedraftkit.com. Let's jump in, Jay.
Leader of the Pack, presented by PetSmart.
Deucer's Alley was rocking out like quite a bit to that drop right there. I saw some headbanging. Last week on Leader of the Pack, we talked through the Packers wide receiver room situation. We're going to do our best to crown the leader of the pack, basically who's going to win the fantasy relevant role on a certain team with a depth chart and a situation that's a little bit murky. This week is a challenge. This week, you talked about him, Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and whom else. It's the Browns wide receiver room, which...
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Cedric Tillman, anybody?
Oh, man, that dude's getting cut.
Yeah, for sure. He's on that bubble.
I mean, this wide receiver room has been uninspiring for years. They did add two very talented rookie wideouts, Denzel Boston, KC Concepcion, who is a favorite of many here in the studio. And you still have Jerry Jeudy as a piece of that offense. We know Harold Fannin is going to be a high percentage target share type of guy. But can we find value in the Browns wide receiver room? We've talked about Miami, right, where it's, it's hard to say that is even a pack to have a leader of. This is one where you do have talent.
Yes, a lot of talent. Yeah, I mean, the issue for both of these teams is you don't expect great offensive play. You don't necessarily expect to have a ton of passing volume at the end of the year, like how many total team yards, whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Shador, whether it's Deshaun Watson, or for Malik Willis in that case. Both,
and let's be honest, it's going to be multiples.
Yes. Both situations, you're like, okay, you're hoping for 3,300 yards on a great, like, let's say Shador has a breakout season, turns into a real star, 3,600 yards.
I mean,
passing.
I think Todd Monken brings a ceiling to the passing game a little bit. I think they are a team with the defense taking a step backwards without Myles Garrett. Could be in a situation where these games are not like the games they won last year. What was it? Almost all one-score games that they were in, even the ones they lost. These games are 19-14 and stuff like that. There's a chance you throw the ball a little bit more than the expectation. But who comes out on top? I mean, right now the way that I'm reading it, and we have not talked about this, so I don't know if you're going to come out on the same side as me. The player I feel the most confident contributing to this offense right now is Denzel Boston. I like the talent of Casey Concepcion, but the way that I think Denzel Boston will be a starter from day one. Concepcion should be as well, but my situation now is like I am leaning towards the big-bodied receiver on the outside that's going to have the opportunity. What were these both? Concepcion was a late first. Boston was a second-round pick, but I mean 39th overall.
Yeah,
That's not a huge gap.
These were two really high draft picks. They, in my scouting, I had Concepcion as a first-round talent, and I had Boston as a second-round talent. I like Boston. They were both above a 75 score in my Felix model. Concepcion was in the 80s, which is pretty darn good. I think the difference that you're saying between like a team like Miami and here is there is talent. This is now they've gone from last year. Their talent was Jerry Jeudy, so they had none. And
right.
now
who is part of this pack?
And honestly, we need to throw another name out, and that's Isaiah Bond, who's also been making noise. He was supposed to be a highly drafted wide receiver last year, had some off-the-field issues, went to the Browns, and now this offseason has been making noise. So between Concepcion, Boston, Jerry Jeudy, Isaiah Bond, and Fannin, this is a very talented skill position group. I still lean that on the Concepcion side. I think that he is the most talented player. Obviously, the capital was there. He's dealt with a couple small injuries through camp. I don't blame you if you want to take the Boston side.
Let me tell you the thought process.
Can I guess it?
Go ahead.
Boston is the outside player. He was a touchdown mega threat in college. So when you look at the fantasy upside versus Concepcion, maybe falls into a slot role and has lower value fantasy production.
Pretty much. I would say that if you think the offense is not going to be a high volume offense, you want the most effective, efficient plays, Boston will have the higher yards per reception. And just to add to the second point about the slot receiver thing, I mean, Concepcion is a freak. He's twitchy. He will be competing for some of the short area targets that Fannin, I think, will dominate. I think that's the last piece of the puzzle. So, but I think those are the two guys at the top of the pecking order. And if you believe, like, the camp for Boston matters a lot to me. The camp for Concepcion matters a little bit less.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I like the way it's going in camp. I think the underdog would be Isaiah Bond.
Yeah,
but my God,
Jerry Jeudy is not a part of this.
No, and how do you possibly? Like, Bond has made headlines before. He made them last year in the offseason program. He was on my dynasty team. It didn't come to fruition when there wasn't a Boston or Concepcion or even Fannin getting snaps. It's just hard for me to see a path to
the only
upside.
Players in the wide receiver room to take a shot on are the two wide receivers. And I don't blame you if you wanted to. Honestly, I was in a mock draft, where I did take Denzel Boston over Concepcion.
Interesting.
They are neck and neck to me, and certainly the beat reporters are talking about Denzel Boston being just really dominating, and that's what you need. You need a rookie who surprises. You need a rookie who is like
deep plays.
Yes, who is just an awesome piece. And I do think that the majority of the games this year will be Shedeur Sanders. That is kind of the more future play. I don't think this team has any wisdom in playing Deshaun Watson. He's not good enough to put them over the top, and he's definitely not their future. So if Shedeur plays most of the games, he's going to focus on the rookies. You look at like Jerry Jeudy last year, once Shedeur came in, was on a 17-game pace of 500 yards.
These are both great players to take at the very end of your draft. We're doing a mock draft today. Kyle's talked about, this is low risk, high reward, highly talented players. Concepcion is that twitchiness, elite, electric playmaker in space, dangerous with the ball in his hands. And then Boston's going to be the guy that high points it, scores longer touchdowns, goal line threat, reliable hands. The drops with Concepcion have been an offseason problem. They were a collegiate problem. It's a problem you can overcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very predictive stat for fantasy points per game, but it is one of the knocks on him. I think I've come around. While I do prefer the talent of Concepcion, what's happening for this team, the efficiency, I'm going to say that the leader of the pack here is Boston.
Are we going Boston?
However, I don't think either is a good pick.
Oh, man. We just got some more news. Well, we're about to talk news, so we get to talk about that. But that was leader of the pack, presented by PetSmart. Visit your local PetSmart store or go to PetSmart.com. Today, PetSmart, anything for pets.
News and notes from around the league.
Well, this sucks, guys. Jordan Tyson left practice early. Okay, all right, whatever. A lot of people leave practice early. Was it a groin, Jay? Was it a toe? Was it? Oh, he hurt his shoulder. Oh no, no. It was the worst possible thing that you could have heard. It's the hamstring.
So
that's been a huge.
Players have hamstring issues. Ho hum, but he had a hamstring issue that was potentially hurting his draft stock, couldn't participate in a lot of offseason stuff.
He is the ham king.
He dealt with it last year. He then started this offseason program not participating because of the hamstring. Took the time. You got to take the time, and he took it. And now for a hamstring to be a problem, it is.
That's a
so you don't know this, Andy.
Negative. Okay.
You don't know this. So we have a board.
I'm aware that you have no hamstrings.
Oh, okay. You do know. But you want to know something else you are unaware of? We have a board in our shared office, me, you, and Mike, where we write names and potential names for My Guys.
Yeah, the My Guys season is here, and the rule around the office is if the name is up by your name, nobody else can claim that player, but it's a handful of names each. Finalists.
I have 2 locked, and I erased a couple this morning, and I'm consolidating. I'm getting very close. And this morning, when we finish the show, you can go walk in there, and you could see one. I've got 4 total names on there, and one of them is Jordan Tyson.
Oh, so because I erased it yesterday?
Wrote him on there this morning.
Is that why?
No, I didn't even know you had him.
Oh, he was on my list, and I erased him yesterday.
This is a player who is truly an elite wide receiver. I'm all in on believing in the talent.
He was our number one. So anything negative we say, he was our number one, Jason and I's number one scouted wide receiver.
Yes.
Right? And Mike as well.
Yes. All 3 of us ahead of Carnell Tate.
Nick Underhill, one of my favorite beat reporters, covers the Saints. I was told this isn't super serious, but obviously less than ideal.
Yeah,
that's exactly how I feel about it.
I can tell you who's not going to be a My Guy. I mean, with the reoccurring hamstring,
you want to have your My Guy not play the first 4 weeks because week 1 he pulls something?
Yeah, I promise you in the UDK, you will see an arrow appear next to Jordan Tyson's name later today, and it will be a down arrow because his risk rating is going to go up. This having a re-aggravation of such a long-standing issue says, hey, I'm still willing to draft him, but you got to know that there is a higher risk profile here. That sucks, man.
It's not great. So we're going to monitor that. The Panthers, they signed. Al, I'm giving you a second here. The Panthers signed tight end Darren Waller.
Oh, goo goo gajoob. All right.
The Panthers. 1-year contract. He's still just 33 years old. Caught 6 touchdowns last year. Looked good doing it. So this is a upgrade for Bryce Young. Right? You didn't sound like you agreed.
So a couple of things here. Jatavian Sanders, I really like. Darren Waller is better. Darren Waller was actually good last year in the games he played, which is a little surprising for his age. I will say that in a dynasty league, he's probably on your waivers, and he should be picked up. I don't expect big things here, but when you're streaming off of your bench in a dynasty league, it's nice to have an option in a certain matchup. So go peek at your waivers and make sure he is out there. I mean, what did he have?
6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns last year in like minimal games.
Yeah, on where Tua threw for 3,200 yards. Ian Rappaport reporting that Rashee Rice is not expected to be suspended for violating his probation.
That's good news, especially coming out right after the fact that it's TBD on Josh Jacobs and Puka Nacua, that they still are being investigated for theirs.
I think the people out there need to know what you would do if your draft was tomorrow with Puka Nacua and Josh Jacobs, because we're getting to the point where the conversation is no longer, well, pay attention a month from now. It's now like you might draft today. You might draft next week. You might. So if that's in the back of your mind, like Puka is my number 1 wide receiver.
Right. And I would imagine right now, would you draft Puka over Jamar Chase today? No, I
wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, because
but how far down? Would you move your number 1 wide receiver in Puka? Would you say, because of potential risk for a suspension, I am willing to take those next 2 guys? Would you take JSN or Amon-Ra over Puka if your draft was today?
No.
I don't think I would either.
What's funny is I'm looking at my UDK numbers, and the risk rating is going to come up for Puka because of this, and did go up. I took a game away from Puka, and he's still statistically higher than Chase for me.
He is really – him and Chase, to me, are a tier above. I don't mind if you put either JSN or JSN and Amon-Ra in that tier, but
I'm going to take 2 games away. That puts him at 3 for me. That means that Chase and JSN would be picks for me.
You would pick.
I know you said JSN and Amon-Ra, but right in between those.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd take JSN right today. If we get word that Puka is not going to get suspended, he goes right back to number 1.
And Jacobs, let me ask you a couple of questions.
By the way, Puka and Jacobs with the suspensions, and that could happen, probably not. Both have groin injuries.
Maybe they're just faking it. Get some sympathy from the NFL. Like, hey, God, I
man,
might
their
miss games
groins
on my
already
own.
hurting.
You don't need to suspend me.
Oh, let's teach him the butterfly stretch.
Yeah, seriously. So right now, Josh Jacobs is going behind Henry and Love and ahead of Kyron Williams and Breece Hall. Would you still draft Jacobs ahead of Kyron and ahead of Breece Hall? Or would you flip there?
I might take Breece. You know how high I have Breece. I might take Breece ahead of him today. And I might take Kyron ahead of him today just so you feel like I picked Kyron once.
Yay. Yeah, for the record, as of this moment, I do not believe that either will be suspended.
The
conversations are ongoing, and it's something we need to be aware of, but
I just don't like it in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I'd put it at unlikely.
Emeka Ibuka left yesterday's practice with a toe injury, considered minor. That was the uptate. I think we had the Ibuka news yesterday, but not the severity or the type of injury.
Yeah, they said it was a minor toe injury, so I have to imagine it's the pinky.
I was going there. Or what do you even call the one next to the pinky? That one's the real.
It's the ring finger.
The ring toe.
The hip. Yeah, the ring toe.
So that's the ring toe. Is that? I just feel like that one's really. I feel like that one could go and no one would notice. Like if you did the Thanos snap and everybody lost that toe, the life goes on perfectly normal. You need your ring toe?
No, absolutely not.
That's just that one's on the way out.
It's a luxury toe.
It's a luxury toe.
For sure. That's what they call it.
That is it. Or as you'd say, a luxury finger. Dave Canales said Chuba Hubbard is week to week with a hamstring injury.
Oh, no. Jonathan Brooks going to skyrocket.
Gosh.
He's already like
let me go and look at my rankings.
Jonathan Brooks has already overtaken Chuba in most drafts that I've seen, which I understand the excitement of the upside, but he is clearly currently the backup, and it's tough.
I don't know about that, man.
You think he starts the season ahead of Chuba?
I think so.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then
Chuba is just he is the Ramondre to the
Henderson.
Travion. He is the like tried and true thumper, but he doesn't have the skill set. We saw this last year with Rico already. If a player comes out and shows explosiveness in this offense, you're never going to see that from Chuba. Ever. So If Rico can win the job, JB can win the job. And I will say this, I've lowered the risk rating for JB a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's healthy right now, and
he is going to play football in preseason week 1 on Saturday.
I will be holding my breath during that game.
Yeah, that could move the ADP even higher if he looks good. Actually, it will. I mean, if he has an explosive play, that's going to skyrocket with the hamstring injury. So we'll take a break. We've got a mock draft coming up. We'll talk to you in a second. And, man, Jason, you're going to draft at 10. I'm at 5. Head-to-head mock, randomly decided.
We had a question yesterday of, like, where's the worst spot in the draft? And I basically said 10.
And then the team here gave you that spot. All right, we'll be right back. All right, I'm excited. Head-to-head mock draft here. We did not give Jay Grizz a spot. He will weigh in with probably Indiana Bears related.
Oh my gosh!
Commentary.
So that is coming soon. Maybe today. The announcement.
There is a 0% chance they're the Indiana Bears.
You put it at 0?
0.
I have it. I have it above 0.
I want this to be a sound clip when it goes. When I see the new logo, you can clip that piece, Falcon, and just drop the new logo over top of me.
If it becomes the Indiana Bears, oh brother, that feels disgusting.
I don't think so, but that was making all the rounds yesterday, and I know every Bears fan is probably panicking.
If it became the Indiana Cardinals, no problem. Whatever.
Take them.
Yeah, they're yours. But
dude, you should be able to trade teams.
Even when, that'd be great. Even when the Bears weren't good for a long stretch, they're still they're the Chicago Bears.
They're not changing. This is some sort of blustery thing. We'll figure it out.
Out of Chicago.
Oh yeah, and then when we talk about Indy, it would be 2 different teams.
No, don't do that.
Indianapolis.
Yeah,
I can't see it happening, but there's a sound clip for you.
The Fantasy Footballers Mock Draft.
All right, like I said, the Mayhem draft kicked back to next week. Today we're doing a 12-team full PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 4 bench spots. I have been randomly assigned the 5 spot in the draft. Jason is at the 10 spot, and we have our writers and producers and staff drafting live. So we will kick it off right here, right now. And I'm glad that the way this draft started, push didn't come to shove on the Puka question you just asked.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson go 1 and 2, even in the full PPR. Jamar Chase and Puka Nacua go next. I'm on the clock at 105. I still have a decision to make here. We had our top 10 running back show yesterday. If you didn't listen, you can go back and listen to that episode, counting it down. Talked a lot about Christian McCaffrey, and here he is. I mean, a full PPR. Remember what you're getting with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
You're getting a receiver and a running back in one. JSN sitting here.
I was going to say full PPR for JSN. Not too bad either.
And Amon-Ra, obviously. But I'm gonna pull the trigger here. It's rare I've had an opportunity in any mock. I will take the Christian McCaffrey opportunity here at 105 in a full PPR. I think I like the pass catchers, the wide receivers coming around in round 2 more than I do the running backs with pass catching potential. Mm-hmm. And I think somebody like Chase Brown, who will catch a lot of passes, will probably be gone. So I'll go CMC here to start off our 12-team PPR mock draft. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes next. Great pick. Jonathan Taylor, JSN going at 108 in a full PPR is a little interesting. CeeDee Lamb going next. And Jason, you're at that beautiful spot where by ADP, just so yesterday when we were asked what is the worst spot to draft, Jason gave a real number.
Yeah, 10.
I didn't. I said it's wherever you're tempted to draft Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, 10.
Which
that's
by
where
ADP,
we are.
Jefferson is the next name to come off the board. So I think I agree with you on 10. Tell me the thought process here. You've got Achane catching a lot of passes.
I know what I'm going to do here.
That's good.
I was pretty sad to see CeeDee Lamb get taken by Cash Money right ahead of me. Most of the time, I think James Cook goes ahead, or people might even be putting Justin Jefferson there. In a full PPR, I would very much prefer to have CeeDee Lamb. I think he's the last of a tier 1 of wide receivers. I'm going to end up high T here. I'm very confident of that. This is the first time I've been able to draft James Cook. Put a little respect on his name. He is an awesome top-tier running back for a great team who is projected to score 10-plus touchdowns, and I think he'll be more involved in the passing game this year than he has been.
Did you happen to see his comments to our good friend of the show, Matt Harmon, yesterday?
I did not.
Harmon basically said, are we going to see you involved more in the passing game? That's an area of your game that can grow. And he basically said the equivalent of almost nothing, and it was to be continued, stay tuned. Like insinuating things have been built out for him more in the passing game is what you said yesterday. I love that pick there. I love it because I think you're going to come back around to a better choice or more flexibility maybe with your choice in the second round. Jefferson goes at 111. I mean, should be a great PPR pick.
Mm-hmm. Should be. He's a great wide receiver.
Devon Achane and Ashton Genty.
These three running backs.
Those are two great pass catchers, and then Chase Brown next.
Yes, Achane, Genty, Chase Brown. I wanted one of those guys from the fact that it was a full PPR. That's just fantastic. I'm left now with a choice between, do I get my first wide receiver, who would be either Drake London or A.J. Brown? And for me, I would rather have A.J. Brown than Drake London. Quarterback play changes. We talked about how Justin Jefferson and Drake London, great wide receivers. Team environment and quarterback play could allow them to disappoint for this early in the draft. I'm going to take a guy that I keep banging the drum for. I know that the troll comments from McDaniel coming out saying like, oh, we're going to use all three backs. I believe in Omari and Hampton. I think he will be a 3-down back and be very involved in catching the ball the way that Achane was for McDaniel last year. And I want a piece of that offense. So I'm going to start high T. James Cook, Omari and Hampton, and in a full PPR, I'm going to have to build my wide receivers later in the draft.
I think this has been a really interesting draft already with names that, like, I don't think in any mock I've had CMC, you've had Cook or Hampton. Maybe you have. But Cook and Hampton, I don't blame you there. My worry about the pass catching is Keaton Mitchell's involvement. But it's like that could be design plays for Keaton Mitchell and not so much
Keaton Mitchell will
natural drop, the
exactly.
checkdowns.
Yeah, I think Keaton will be used in the slot and used in motion and used more as a gadget player.
Well, I think the streak of players we haven't had in mocks that are going to end up on our team may continue here. We see Bowers, Barkley, McBride after your Hampton pick, and then Ken Bone Walker, who might have been a little bit tantalizing and tempting there for me. At running back at this juncture, you have Jeremiah Love's a pass-catching talent. It's interesting here. Henry and Jacobs, we'll see. We've talked about Jacobs. I'm going to take Drake London. I'm going to take Drake London this late.
Yeah, he's fallen.
At 208 in a full PPR, you can say it's a bad environment, but Jefferson in a bad environment has failed. London in a bad environment has not failed yet. So at least
Jefferson was a first-round pick at the 111. You're at the mid to back of the second. So
yeah, so I'll take it because it looks like it started a run of wideouts because London goes to me. Then it's A.J. Brown, Pickens, Nico, and Olave. Olave is an interesting name to bring up just if we do face the hamstrung situation, we know what Olave can do with the high target share. Jeremiah Love, the first pick of the third round. Neighbors could have been an interesting thought. I would have loved him to slip through, but he didn't. Breece Hall, Derrick Henry puts me back on the clock. CMC in London is the start. I will say right now the number one wide receivers or the two names I think that I'm interested in. Garrett Wilson, always a PPR monster. Ladd McConkey, interesting as well. Jacobs is there. Kyron, Bucky, Javonte, Achane Jr., Trevo. Looking to quarterbacks, it's where you start to think a little bit. I mean, middle of the third, Josh Allen. Do I like what that does to my team more than Garrett Wilson?
Do you think about Colston Loveland here in a full PPR third round?
I should, but I'm not.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take Josh Allen. I'm gonna make the pick. I'm looking up and down the wide receiver room in a full PPR. There's a ton of names that I know are coming back to me. I think it's going to be a difference maker for my team versus looking quarterback in the fourth or fifth. So I'm going to pull the trigger on the automatic and take Josh Allen. Hero quarterback, hero running back, Drake London as my wide receiver one. I feel good. Higgins, Rice, Javonte, Kyron, Jason, you are on the clock. You got 2 running backs. You are high T so far.
I am high T.
You want to go like super high T and pick up Josh Jacobs right here, still sitting there in 310?
I mean, at 310, it's not a bad value, but I don't necessarily think that that's the way to go when there are other good wide receivers on my team and my team needs them. I'm sitting here looking at Tedero and McMillan, who I love, Garrett Wilson, who I love, Devontae Smith, who I love. They're all good options at wide receiver, but in a full PPR, my rankings have Garrett Wilson in the lead there. I think that he's going to do what he has always done, which is consume all of the targets. And I can't stop finding him as a value because he is a guy that I can easily see finishing as a back-end wide receiver 1 who's almost always taken, after
Jets discount.
After 15 wide receivers or so. I'm not sure what number wide receiver he was just here. Kyle, you can add it up for me. But he's certainly not in the top 12.
14.
14 before him?
13 before him.
Okay.
He was 14 off the board. I think that is a great pick. It was the one name I was thinking about versus Josh Allen. And you and I both have him ranked above ADP. I love it. Devontae Smith, Tet McMillan, Abuka going next. Jacobs finally goes off the board at 402. Okay, that's great. I mean, going behind Javonte is interesting when you have Javonte's pass catching prowess in a PPR versus Jacobs. He's going to be 50-plus catches. That's a good value. Jason, you're back on the clock. A little bit of a head shake. I'm not sure.
No, I'm just looking at everybody. There's a lot of different options. I can take my pick of the second-year tight ends, Tyler Warren and Colson Loveland. Full PPR, they could end up dominating, taking that jump into tier 1. But I'm going to take a wide receiver that I know early in the offseason, I think we, maybe as a show, definitely myself, Mike, I think even you were a little lower, a little bit more concerned on. And as time has gone on, he's so good. He's so good. And I know you're squinting because you don't want me to take him. You don't want me to take Ladd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to take Ladd, and then I just now am seeing that would put Ladd in Hampton. I love.
Oh yeah.
He
won't make it to me now that this has been discussed.
He probably won't.
But that's okay.
That's going to tie break it for me. I'm not going to take Ladd. I am going to take Tyler Warren ahead of Colson Loveland. And at full PPR, I'm confident that Warren is above 140 targets this year.
Now, you took him over Loveland.
Correct. Yeah, I think Loveland might have the ceiling, but in a full PPR, I am extremely confident that the number 1 target for that team, like the number 1 target for the Bears, it very well might be Loveland. But it could also be Luther Burden, which that's what the news recently has been, that he's been the first target. It could also be Rome, who, when the 3 of them were on the field together, was the leading target. I don't see Alec Pierce being the leading target. I don't see Josh Downs being better than Warren. Warren is going to be the engine in the receiving room.
All right, we'll catch you up a little bit here. Ladd McConkey does go next. Not surprising after that discussion. That was the pie in the sky dream when I took Josh Allen, is that Ladd comes back to me. I love him. Zay Flowers, Jalen Waddle, Loveland goes next. I end up with Luther Burden at 408. That's what I pulled the trigger on him. I love that value. I think that's great. That is the wide receiver 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm getting Luther Burden at wide receiver 21 value and a PPR. You just talked about the offense. I feel fine about that.
Sure.
That means Loveland and Burden are gone back to back. Bucky, Scat, Jameson, and Lamar off the board to finish the 4th round. Carnell Tate at 501. Love that pick. Judkins, Swift, Tootin off the board brings it back to me. Running backs have thinned, especially when you look at PPR upside. Trevo is interesting here. I need another running back. Monty, he can catch the football. He is also projected to score double-digit touchdowns, or one of the better odd running backs to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Achane Jr. in New Orleans. Jadarian Price also on the board. At wide receiver.
You're sitting right now with London and Luther Burden, 2 wide receivers. Hero RB with Christian McCaffrey, and you've got your onesie of Josh Allen in.
Yeah, I think, tell me, how you would think through the Trevo versus Monty decision.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a team makeup decision. Now, I think that Trevo has the higher upside, the potential to be a breakout player versus David Montgomery, but David Montgomery is the 3-down back. He will have the touchdown upside. And the fact that this is your running back 2, I think I like Trevo as my running back 3. As my running back 2, you might need more solid reliability versus David Montgomery is not a backup.
I've got CMC.
If he plays.
Well, that's going to undo my team quickly if he doesn't. I agree. And I think the conversation around Achane Jr. has been really negative, but this was a guy they paid a ton of money to bring in on the offense.
I thought that was going to be your pick, was Achane Jr.?
It might be. I'm really between those 3, and then I like Devontae Adams here, but there's other wideouts I like later, so I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to take the guaranteed. I think there's upside and guarantee with Achane. Maybe that means you end up getting Travion. Maybe that was part of your plan.
No,
there.
It wasn't. I mean, I might end up, but that was not part of my plan. I looking at my team, I've got one wide receiver. No, I've got one wide receiver. I think Henderson went before me, but had he been on the clock, I would not have taken him here over some of these wide receivers that I like on the board.
All right, Terry McLaurin, David Montgomery, DJ Moore, and Trevo does go right before your pick, but looking at your makeup, it makes sense that you wouldn't have probably gone there.
I love that. I can't really give any advice without it. I feel like you interpret it.
That's your fault. Yeah,
for sure.
That's called learning from the past.
But I maybe if I'm trying to convince you of something, I've got to just come out and say the opposite of what you think I'm going to say, which is the opposite.
I think we're going to get into a real pickle for the rest of our lives as friends if you do that. I'll go. I went HN. You're on the clock. I'll give you a second to think about it. We'll take a quick break and be right back. All right, Jason, James Cook, Amari Hampton, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Warren, full PPR mock from the 10 spot. You're on the clock.
All right, so I am looking at my wide receiver 2 here. There's not a quarterback I think that is a tier above enough to take here a second onesie. I already took Tyler Warren. So it's running back and wide receiver, but at the running back position, there's nobody as important to my roster as there is at wide receiver. Now, my wide receiver is my second one. Very similar to what you were when you had Christian McCaffrey and you're trying to decide, do I take the high upside shot at Henderson, but maybe you need more reliability. That's where I am at wide receiver. Like, I want to take Jordan Tyson despite the hamstring injury.
But he's your wide receiver 2 in a PPR.
Exactly. I just don't think I can do that. There's a handful of guys here that I really like. Christian Watson is obviously awesome. But again, that's another big risk. He's missed games every year of his career. I'm going to take Old Faithful. I'm going to take Devontae Adams, a great offense, a goal line machine. His separation last year was still good, and so maybe he falls off, but he didn't last year.
I have no problem with it. I think we've been pretty in sync actually, because I think the Wilson and the Adams pick were the other names that were right there when I was on the board. Jadarian Price, that'll be an interesting pick. Goes 5'11". Tyson does go up 5'12", and then we see a couple. I mean, a blessing to you at the quick turn. Mm-hmm. 2 onesies go off the board. Drake May, Jaden Daniels back to back. So you're sitting there. You've got a onesie. You got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end, and you're back on the clock. Quick turn.
I think I'm really confident in my James Cook, Amari, and Hampton start. So Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams could use some help. I love Mike Evans, but his hamstring hates him.
Evans-Adams combo is hilarious. The 2 oldest guys in the draft.
I would never do it for that reason. Christian Watson, I know, big fan of him on the show. Mike is in love with him. I'm going to stick to my guns that I have had for a while, a player that a lot of people have just soured on. They just don't think he's any good. They think he's the 3rd best receiver on his team, but he was a top 10 draft pick. He was leading the team in receptions before he got injured last year.
This is all a Rome Odunze.
This is a Rome Odunze. I still believe in Rome Odunze.
I believe in Rome too.
And at this point in the 6th round, to get a year 3 player who was clearly breaking out before he got injured last year, I'm in.
I love it. Rome, Parker Washington, Jalen Warren, Ramondre. I had my hopes on one player. When I took Achane, I was like, one guy I hope makes it all the way back around, and the 3 quarterbacks going off the board helped it happen.
Oh.
My team is perfect for Mike Evans.
Oh, okay.
I
love having you on board with a draft
I told
pick
you
of
we're
Mike
kind of
Evans.
in sync today.
Yeah.
London, Burden, Evans. I feel outstanding about with Allen and
You've
CMC.
got explosive high upside there.
Yeah,
a little bit
so-
of risk, but yeah.
Like Devontae went at 5'10". I get Evans at 6'08", and I look at them very similarly in production. Watson, Huge, Kraft. Kraft off the board here ahead of Kittle. Kraft off the board ahead of Fannin, and I don't blame anyone for it. Johnson, Kraft, BTJ, Marv, Cortland Sutton, 702 as we cruise along here. Jalen Hurts at 703, Jason. That is the cheapest Jalen Hurts you've ever had.
That is an awesome pick. I mean, for Hurts falling to the 6th, which is where he usually is in most drafts, I think is a great value where even if he doesn't go back to the 15 rushing touchdowns with the tush push of the last several years prior to last year, which he could, is still a good value in the 6th. Getting him in the 7th is great.
Dobbins. Mike isn't here to applaud that one at 704. I am taking back-to-back 49ers, Jason.
Oh.
I don't believe the current ADP is going to be reflective of the ADP either in this room amongst all of our writing staff and this group. You got to pull the trigger sometimes ahead of where the ADP has a guy. I'm taking George Kittle. I'm going to take George Kittle. I like what I've seen so far. I feel like, you're such a big Brock Purdy fan. Is their offense?
I think Brock Purdy
I am
is
all San Francisco.
Yes,
all in on SF.
I was literally going to say, now before you take that pick, I want to make sure you know.
Yeah,
then I saw that you took the pick.
Yeah, I took the pick. I'm aware.
You better get Brock Purdy at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if
no, you've got Josh Allen. I forgot about that. But yes,
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, Mike Evans, and George Kittle.
Yep.
I will say this. I think their offense, like usual, is going to be very good and score a ton of points. So this could be a consolidated offense into those 3 weapons. It's dangerous, and should the Niners have a bad day, so will you.
A dangerous substation. Jonathan Brooks, Michael Wilson, Alec Pierce, Justin Herbert, and Jason Moore is on the clock. 7th round.
I am on the clock. I'm going to do something I haven't done. I'm not going to do it with this pick. I'm going to grab Caleb on the way back.
Two-putt?
Caleb Williams. Oh, man. That was rude. I had several 2-putts.
You did.
But I had a few 3-putts.
But you understand the position I was put in.
So
was such a great joke.
Because I took Rome Odunze and we're here later in the draft, I like the idea of getting the high upside explosiveness of Caleb Williams.
Are you stacking?
I am going to stack, but the 2 people before me at the turn,
they
just drafted quarterbacks last pick, so I know they're not going to grab Caleb Williams. Now I'm sitting here with still just James Cook and Amari and Hampton, which feels dicey, but the running backs on the board. The running backs I want are insurance backs. They're Blake Corum. They're Kyle Monangai. Really high upside, but not guys that I'm going to be starting, and they shouldn't be drafted in the 7th round or even the 8th round. So I'm going to bypass on them. I'm going to look at the wide receiver position, and here in the 7th, I'm going to take this has been a really fun mock draft because I feel like I'm grabbing guys that I haven't necessarily taken before to give them a little bit more respect. But the gap between Ibuka and Chris Godwin in ADP, I think, is wider than it will be in real life. Godwin has a mind meld with Baker, and getting him at the near the 7-8 turn, I'm down with that.
We talked yesterday about Godwin, or a couple days ago. The place for Godwin especially is a full PPR league. I mean, I think it's a great pick. Fannin, Monangai, Dowdle, and Josh Downs. Jason pulls the trigger now with Caleb Williams.
How do you feel about that, Jay? Jay Grizz happy that I got your stack, Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze?
Yep. I've got Burden too, Jay. Don't get mad at me.
Yeah.
We're going for it. The comments from the head coach, they want to break the scoring record.
Oh,
Which,
dude,
did you know that all the other coaches have no interest in scoring less
no,
points?
you know what? That's actually true. That is actually true. They do not have interest in that. And I'm not joking. I was talking to Mike, you weren't there, about Ben Johnson and the quote. I love Ben Johnson so much. Here's his quote. I want to have the highest scoring offense ever, which happens to be the 2013 Denver Broncos. I know how many points per game they scored, 37.9, and I want to surpass them. I want shutouts. I want blowouts. This dude is a dog, and he is going to put his throat on his foot on the throat of his opponent, and he is going to press down hard.
If he can.
If he can, and I think he can, but he's in the period of his life as a coach where he is making a name for himself, and
It is a funny thing to watch.
Fantasy purposes, it's fantastic. This is not a coach that's going to try to just get the easy W's. When you had the 2007 Patriots that were scoring 40 points a game, you won championships. And so I don't know if they can, but certainly they're going to try to just keep running it up and not just like get out of there with an easy W. They want to destroy people. I love it.
Yeah, he's setting himself up to need to succeed with the ripping the shirt off and all the behaviors. It's fun.
Love Ben Johnson. I'm falling further and further in love with that man.
Where did we leave off? There was Pollard, Mason, Dart, and Corum.
There was a play at practice the other day where he tells all of his players never reach for the pylon. Never reach for the pylon unless it's 4th down or 2-point conversion. That is a hard and fast rule. And I think it was one of their rookie wide receivers reach for the pylon. And so in their meeting, he had AI recreate that page where the player was flipping off the camera. And so,
my gosh.
He's just like teaching lessons.
Oh my gosh, Jason.
I love it, man.
All right, I'm on the clock here. Yeah, you ask yourself, what's the price that you'd pay for DK Metcalf in a draft? And I'll say the 8th pick of the 8th round. I'll take DK Metcalf. I think in a PPR league, adding that depth in the 8th round is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen McMillan was still available, right? Or
Jalen McMillan?
Jerry Jeudy.
Or DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
JCM, Corey Krosky, Merritt, Laporta, Gainwell, Harvey. Poor Jason. He can't have a second tight end that's Sam Laporta. Kyle Pitts, Jacoby Myers, and Wandale going next. We have my team has got 2 running backs right now, and that's an okay spot here where it's between, for me at running back, Rachaad White and Chuba Hubbard. Maybe you could say Aaron Jones as well in that conversation. Chuba's not sexy, but I'll take him as a 3rd, guaranteed to be out there. So I'll take him at the 905. Only 2 picks left in the draft. Jaden Reed goes next at 906. How do you feel about your team so far with 3 rounds left? We both have our onesies filled. It's kind of luxury at this point.
Yeah, I love my team as a whole. I think the upside with in a full PPR, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Rome Odunze, Chris Godwin is great. My starting running backs of Cook and Hampton are awesome. And then Warren and Caleb Williams, huge upside. My big struggle here with how this roster's been built is I don't have a lot of depth at running back. And there's not a lot of depth at running back left to grab right now. I was pretty upset just a second ago because usually when I see Aaron Jones in ADP on the board, I go, great, now I can take Jordan Mason. But Jordan Mason, Brooks wisely took a round ago.
Well ahead, yeah.
And as he should go, in my opinion. I will take Aaron Jones. Sometimes these backfields that you don't know who it's going to be, you take the shot on who you think it is. But both players are worthy draft picks late in a draft because there will be fantasy points on good offenses. Mike's talked about this for years. Like, you take whatever offense you think is going to be good that you don't know who the guy is going to be. That's those late picks. Take shots on those type of guys.
All right. Well, Jason with Aaron Jones, Golden, Dobbs, Denzel Boston. We talked about him. Jonah Coleman, and 2 picks left. Jason, we're in the 10th.
Well, again, it's very similar to the last one. I would have preferred to take Bill and Jordan Mason. I'm going to end up with Aaron Jones and Rachaad White, but it's the same thing where you don't know who it's going to be for sure. Also, in a full PPR, Rachaad White's pass-catching skills could easily In a full PPR, you can make an argument for both Aaron Jones and Rachaad White over the other guys just because they're the pass catchers.
Okay, well, I'm back on the clock here. I will tell you my mindset here with 2 picks left. I do want to grab another tight end. I wouldn't normally do it, but George Kittle is the one exception to that rule. The teams past me in this draft, there's only one that doesn't have a tight end.
Dude, there's a clear player you got to take here.
At tight end?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to say Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, you got Josh Allen. You stack. I mean, the breakout potential.
So the 2 names that I
know your other option. Dallas Goedert.
Well, okay, 3 names.
Okay, I'll know. I know.
Isaiah Likely as well is a player that I think
they're all worthy shots. They really are.
But maybe you can persuade me to pull the trigger now and not wait just because of the Josh Allen stack. So I'll take Kincaid.
I think that's a good pick.
I don't think you had any secret advantage to telling me that.
I'm not looking to take a second tight end.
Trevor Lawrence goes next. Stribling
that's a great value here.
I couldn't take him.
You were all out of Niners.
I was all out of Niners.
You could only have certain amount of roster spots for one team, and the system wouldn't let you take them.
If you want to name my team, just name it Team Electrical Substation. Lawrence, Stribling, Purdy off the board. That puts Kyle here on the clock at the 10-11 turn, as he tries to figure out these 2 very important picks. But ultimately at the 5, I would say I feel pretty satisfied with my roster. I feel like this one has come together better than some of our previous mock drafts. But Concepcion and Pacheco go next. Gadsden at 11:02, getting ready to make the final selection here in the mock. You got Brian Robinson off the board. Isaiah Likely does go at 11:04. Kurt needed a tight end. So at this point, it's a luxury pick. I always like going upside here. Jacoby Lane is a name in Baltimore.
Sure, rookie that's been flashing.
Zachariah Branch is a name.
I love taking a shot early on him. He's perfect because you'll know week 1 what his role is or what he can do against NFL defenders. I think he either breaks out or is, you just got to.
And then the most boring, but I want to just mention his name because in a PPR in the final round, it is a worthy name. Khalil Shakir. He's going to catch a ton of passes. They will not be high-value targets, but much like a Josh Downs in years past, like in a full PPR, Shakir is worth a thought.
Do you consider Jalen Coker?
I don't think that's a bad pick at all.
Love the talent of Jalen Coker.
I think he's awesome. But I think the addition of Waller and then Tep being the number 1 and then the 3,000 passing yard stuff just kind of gets me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Makes sense. So
I went Jacoby Lane. So Addison, another great pick there. Jennings, Strange, Bigsby, Mike, or Jason, you have one final pick.
Tank Bigsby is such a great pick this late. I think that's one of those type of league winners. Him and why can't I think of Kyron's backup?
Blake Corum.
Yeah, Blake Corum. Those 2 guys are amazing. So I'm sitting here between Coker and Zachariah Branch. I'm going to pull the trigger on the rookie. He is an electric jitterbug, and the fact that you've got Drake London, Pitts, and they really don't have anybody else. He should find his way week 1 on the field. So now the question is just what he did in college where guys couldn't catch him. Does it work in the NFL? If it does, he should be great for fantasy. Probably doesn't, in which case you just kind of move on.
All right, we are wrapping up our head-to-head mock draft. I have CMC, Travis Etienne Jr., and Chuba at running back. I got Drake London, Luther Burden, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, and Jacoby Lane at wideout with Josh Allen, the number 1 quarterback off the board in the 3rd to me, with Kittle and then Kincaid to ensure him. I feel pretty good.
Yeah, no, I don't mind that team other than the San Francisco trifecta is it could backfire.
I have no idea how.
My team, I've got Caleb Williams at the top with Tyler Warren at my onesies. My running backs are James Cook, Marion Hampton, Aaron Jones, and Rachaad White. And at wide receiver, full PPR, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Roma Dunze, Chris Godwin, and Zachariah Branch.
All right, that is going to do it for the mock draft. If you want to watch it and see all the picks, see all the players on the board, you can do so. YouTube.com/thefantasyfootballer. Subscribe, click the bell. We got a Just the Tips episode coming out. We have Sunday live episodes in the season, so you'll want to be.
You can see my golf game now.
Yeah, is that coming out today?
Yeah, it should be out today. Disgusting. I
What,
apologize.
he's shaking his head. It's
Maybe today.
No,
maybe
it's out
tomorrow.
today.
Listen, you can't take 2 days on a golf video.
No.
You can't take 2 days on a golf video. You're paid
fantasy
way
football
too
stuff.
much for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, just-
it'll be out soon.
You ever heard the phrase "count the cost before you build the house"?
The problem is the tracers.
When the
When the
Thank
ball
you,
goes
That's
10 feet in
counting
the
the
air.
cost.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to do the thing before you
Oh,
do the
man.
thing, we're not paying you to learn to do the thing.
Mm-hmm. Come on, man. If
Whiny.
yeah, you could do mock drafts now in the Ultimate Draft Kit as well. Don't forget.
Why don't you take 2 weeks for it?
Done.
I mean, I know Jason.
Don't
a few
tell him that.
extra
He will take it.
strokes.
He will take the full 2 weeks if
I
you
know.
mention it. Yeah, so you could do your mock drafts in the Ultimate Draft Kit now, and don't forget Ultimate Draft Kit for Life giveaway. If you get the Ultimate Draft Kit or become an Ultimate Foot Clan member, we will do the drawing live on YouTube on the 24th for
Is
the
he hand
giveaway.
drawing the tracers?
I
Is
think
this
he's
Is he hand drawing
pixel
them?
by pixel.
Pixel by pixel to see where
Yeah.
the ball? How? I mean,
Yeah, the software doesn't do it at all.
yeah. I hope that face over there is shame, man. I hope that's what that is.
We'll see with the
The
video.
problem is the tracers.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get it.
He's the first guy to do this tracer thing, so he's figuring out he's breaking
the
ground
problem.
here.
But Jason is doing.
I hear groans back there.
You what? You don't like the
I was just an empathetic groan.
for Matt?
Yeah.
You know how to do tracers?
I could figure it out before the end of the day. I can tell you that.
Hey, he's
the empathy!
from empathy to
Don't boom shakalaka!
the point is the Jason Play 9 with Jason video is also interspersed with some sweet fantasy advice.
That's right. We give some cool stats and
and
nuggets.
dare I say, even though you did not have a bad round, the advice is better than the golf.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
All right, that'll do it for today's show. On behalf of Jay Grizz, on behalf of Jason Moore, Andy Holloway, Deucer's Alley, the Falcons' Pride, we say goodbye. We'll be back tomorrow. Huge episode, top 10 tips and tricks.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.